But first, Federal Cabinet's meeting in Canberra tonight as we go to air, and high on the agenda is a discussion of the need for discipline and solidarity. You wouldn't think the Prime Minister would need to tell her own Cabinet not to leak, but on the weekend, the Sydney Morning Herald had a damaging blow-by-blow account of the internal Cabinet debate over border protection. It was a stunning breach of Cabinet confidentiality and is being interpreted as a sign of Julia Gillard's increasingly tenuous grip on her party's leadership. Labor factions are blaming each other for the leak, but as political editor Chris Uhlmann reports, wherever it's come from, it's a very public sign of a government in trouble.
Clearly, it's not the first time that there have been leaks from Cabinet.
Cabinet's confidential and it should be kept confidential.
It's certainly a great pleasure to open the Australian Government's Crisis Coordination Centre.
Alas, nothing here can solve the existential threat faced by the Gillard government.
Attorney General, what should happen to people who leak Cabinet information? Should they be expelled from Cabinet?
Again, I'm not going to comment on that issue.
But the crisis was there for all to see. And the Centre's TVs beamed in pictures of a Senate hearing on immigration, the source of the government's latest woes.
It is not appropriate for me to canvass what that
Mr
contingency plan may be.
My questions are now to the Minister, not to you. Minister,
well, you were
was the contingency plan
always...
Senator Cash,
Chair,
Senator Cash, let's just...
Senator Cash was verballing me, and I refused to allow myself to be verbaled.
The head of the Immigration Department isn't the only one feeling verbaled. Cabinet ministers are outraged by the leaking of a blow-by-blow report of a Cabinet crisis meeting held last Thursday aimed at rebuilding the government's shattered border protection policy. The embattled Prime Minister is deeply unimpressed.
As Prime Minister, I have worked to ensure that we have a proper system of Cabinet government. That comes with responsibilities and it comes with rights. It particularly comes with the right to participate in what should be free and frank discussions. That comes with the responsibility to keep those discussions confidential.
The Sydney Morning Herald reported that Chris Bowen and other right-wing ministers, along with the left's Anthony Albanese, were defeated in a push to send asylum seekers to Nauru. But the nature of that conversation is in dispute. 7:30 has been told it took place after the decision had been made to move to onshore processing, and the intent was to force Tony Abbott to a position where he would be seen to be rejecting his own solution. Whatever was said, the Cabinet leak has damaged the Prime Minister and elevated her rival, the Foreign Minister, Kevin Rudd. Cabinet meets again tonight.
Would you like the Prime Minister to indeed read the Right Act to Cabinet today
well,
to prevent this sort of thing happening?
I don't think
again?
the Prime Minister needs to read any act. I think all ministers know what Cabinet solidarity means and ministerial responsibility means.
But ministers are now deeply suspicious of each other and none denies that damage has been done.
Cabinet leaks never benefit the government of the day, they always benefit the opposition.
The opposition leader agrees.
There's plenty of work to do in this country, but while the Prime Minister is watching her back, she's not getting on with government. The government is paralysed while the faceless men try to work out who should be the next Prime Minister.
Julia Gillard's Praetorian Guard is made up of the generals of the right, people like Bill Shorten and David Feeney from Victoria, Mark Arbib from New South Wales and Don Farrell from South Australia. It was they who combined to roll Kevin Rudd in June last year. They could do it because together they controlled the majority in Labor's caucus. For them, a return to Kevin Rudd is the nightmare scenario, so they're welded to the PM.
Clearly, I believe that a proper Cabinet system of government is best. That means that we work through our Cabinet structures, our Cabinet committees and our Cabinet to make the decisions that the nation needs. Cabinet should be kept confidential.
What's intriguing is that the right believes that the epicentre of the threat to the Prime Minister comes from Victoria's left, Julia Gillard's own faction and state. Right-wing fingers are pointing at Industry Minister Kim Carr. The Minister's office says the Senator doesn't comment on Cabinet.
$1 billion over 4 years for an initiative that had no possible opportunity to succeed and was, in the government's view, illegal.
So I'll take it from that minister that you've just confirmed that you were not the source of the cabinet leak that stated that Mr Bowen actively during cabinet pursued the Nauru option, and that remains his preferred option.
I'm going to rule that question out of order. Don't be silly, Senator Cash. I don't discuss the cabinet proceedings.
Senator Cash.
Of course, right now there is no challenge to the Prime Minister because those pushing the Foreign Minister don't have the numbers. But the plan is to mount a campaign that chips away at caucus. The war against Kevin Rudd was fought and won by generals. If this campaign succeeds, it will likely end as a caucus revolt, with the troops' minds focused by the prospect of losing their own seats. So this is a long game, but the cabinet leak has lifted the tempo a notch.
I think all of us are annoyed when cabinet leaks. I'm not a member of cabinet, but good government relies on cabinet solidarity and it relies on cabinet confidentiality, and I'm sure all of us, all members of the government, would want cabinet members to abide by those principles.
Anything is possible in politics, including the Prime Minister reviving her fortunes, but that will be hard as long as her poll numbers are stuck in the doldrums.
The commentators will write 1 million words about 1 million opinion polls between now and 2013. In 2013, I will be judged on what has been achieved for the Australian people, and I'll be happy to be judged on that.
The commentators will. And many of those words will now speculate on how long this Prime Minister can last and whether it will be the people who decide Julia Gillard's fate or her caucus.
Political editor Chris Yeoman.